My name is Lisa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Twin Falls, Idaho. And today we're going to be working on this super cute card. It has an inside scene and then a sentiment. And so this is a different kind of fold than I've done before. I saw this from another demonstrator. She had done this fold with some different snow animals, and I thought, oh, I could do that with the Snowman season bundle. So that's what we're doing. And I'm also going to introduce to you the Curvy Celebrations dies. There's some new product that's going to be in our January to June mini catalog, and it's going to feature 2 stamp sets and a set of dies that are available now. You can order them from now until the beginning of the year, and then we'll be in the new catalog. But we get kind of like a pre-release. The one thing is the dies have to be purchased as a bundle. They were initially going to feature them separately, and I don't know, for some reason they decided they're not going to. And so now if you buy the stamp set and the dies as a bundle, you get it. But these are the dies. I don't have my magnet sheet on here yet, but this is the one we're going to be using today, is this one that just kind of creates a slope. And that's going to be our snow in the background. But this is a great set because it has some leaves, it has some scallops, it will cut out leaves, just some great little things that'll go with that stamp set. And it's not, there's a stamp set for Christmas, and then there's a general one that has happy birthday and all that good stuff. So this is they call it a mega bundle that would be good all year long. So I've got one sheet of the Night of Navy. It's 8.5 by 11. And I have 2 of the shimmery white, and you could use regular white or shimmery white, but I have 2 pieces that are 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I also have this Snowflake Splendor. This is in our holiday catalog on page 37. If you don't have one of these catalogs and you want one, definitely let me know. I will get one to you in the mail right away. But that's what this is from. That's from that Snowflake Splendor Designer Series paper. And then you can see here we're going to need some scraps. And so I'll have a scrap of white and a scrap of the black and some early espresso, some rhinestones, and then I'll have the garden green, and this is Seaside Spray, and then some Night of Navy ink that will go on the inside. So that's all the supplies we need for our card. In order to do this special kind of fold, we're going to start with just our 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to show you how we fold that a little bit differently so that we get this effect. What we're going to do is we're going to bring in our paper trimmer, and we're going to go ahead and line this up at 4 1/4, and we're going to score. So we're scoring at 4 1/4, and then we're going to score at 5 1/2. Okay, so this just broke our piece of paper into 4 quadrants. So that's what we have here. We just want to remove this upper square. And so I'm going to do that with the trimmer. I'm going to line it up again, and this time instead of using the score blade, I'm going to use the cutting blade, and I'm going to go almost up to that corner. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to line it up. And if you have to error one way or the other, I would error in a little bit here so that it has clearance in order to fold here. Because if this is too wide, you will notice a little bit of a problem closing your card. So you want it to line right up in there, but not go over at all, or it won't close properly. And then I'm just going to cut up to midpoint. Now I went ahead and cut all the way through. If you're nervous about that, just cut almost all the way to the end and then finish it off with your paper snips, and that will work too. And then I wanted to put a circle in the front of that, but because it's going to have the Designer Series paper and I want to make sure it matches up completely, I'm going to have this glued on before we cut the hole. So I'm going to just use some Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to put a little bit more in the middle because, like I said, we're going to have that circle cut out, and I don't really want it ultra loose all the way around in the middle. So it's going to go right here. And now I want to cut out that circle. Now, obviously, this is way too big to fit through our machine. because our cut and emboss machine only has the 6-inch opening. So I want to fold this over on the section I do not want to cut. So that leaves this one all by itself, and this is how we'll feed it through the machine. So I have one of our layering circle dies, and then I have platform number 1. Number 2, I'm replacing one of my number 3s with a 5. So I have 1, 2, 5, and 3. Now, these have had a little bit of problem with warping. I guess the ones that they sold to Stampin' Up! For approval worked just fine. And then the ones that came off the assembly line, not so much. Stampin' Up! Does not agree with that. They want to have top quality stuff out. And so they've kind of pulled it for a little bit while they work out their quality control issues, and it will be back. So don't panic if you don't have the magnetic plate yet. You will want it. It will be coming out later. And in the meantime, if you have the big shot in that magnetic platform, it will fit through this machine. But I appreciate that Stampin' Up! Is going to stand behind their work. Some people are really frustrated. Oh my gosh, we got this, platform. It doesn't work right. And, Stampin' Up's going to stand behind it. They will send you one that works and it doesn't warp. And they're going to pull it off and not sell anymore until that's what they're selling off the store flat off the bat. So just appreciate that they are getting it fixed. And I would rather have them get it fixed than sell me something that doesn't work properly. Okay, now I want to, while I have this out, I'm going to go ahead and die cut these. Now this is the sparkle paper that we had. It just retired recently. I'm really hoping it comes back. And these we can use the shimmer white again for these snowbanks. If you have dazzling diamonds and some glue, if you have some heavy Winkostella. I mean, there's lots of things you can do to get this pretty sparkle in there. I just couldn't resist how pretty that looked. And hopefully you've been a customer of mine for a while and you know how pretty it is and how the sparkle doesn't flake off at all. And you have some of this in stock. If not, you can go ahead and make all 3 of them with the shimmer white, add a little Winkostella, close enough. So I've got the shimmer white here. And then, like I said, I'm going to bring in that die that has the slope. Now, if you look at it, it has the cut on the top up here, and then it cuts these holes. So if you want to pay attention that the cut's going to be on this side, and then this side won't. I mean, it's up to you, but I went ahead and I'm going to flush it to one end, and then I'm going to run it through. We also know from using our other die cutting machines that the closer you are to an edge, the tighter the roller is going to be and the better cut you're going to get if it's something with a lot of detail. And I'm just adjusting where my die is so that my slopes are a little different. Now, it doesn't matter how tall they are because as we line them up, I can always cut off excess, but I can't glue any back on. So don't panic there. So here we have our 3 little slopes. And I ordered take a second to take your pick tool because I'm always using the pointy end with my embellishments and stuff, but I still wanted my die brush. So I have a second one coming. If you don't have one of these take your pick tools, oh my gosh, you want one. They are so useful. This has the point at the end that I use to pick up rhinestones, poke things out of holes. I mean, all sorts of stuff. And then it flips around and it's a little mini spatula. And then at the other end, they have this kind of gummy stuff that helps you pick up rhinestones. I have had a little problem with it oozing out a little too much. And the trick is that you screw it down tight until you get just enough goo out of there. And then you unscrew it a tad. So there's no more pressure pressing down on it because that's what makes it ooze. So pop some out and then loosen it a tad and then you're ready to use it. But this comes out and the die brush goes in. So this is why I need 2. Because look at how useful that is. And then it also comes with 2 foam pads that fit nicely into a clear case, which of course lines up perfectly on my shelf, which you guys know I'm kind of neurotic about keeping everything all neat and organized so it all has a home. Because whenever you're stamping, I don't know, I tend to make a huge mess. And with everything having a home, it's easier to clean up. It's faster for me. So just something that bothers me and I worked on. So here we have our card. So I want to build my scene with these in here. And so I'm kind of going to look at it and go, okay, I kind of like it about like that. And so then it doesn't matter how they all line up on the bottom, because I can just line them all up, get them where I want them, and then we can just swoop and cut off the whole bottom. Or if you know like exactly how far up you want it, you can just take and line that up in here and make this a flat edge. And it's not exactly flat, but as the other ones go over it, you know, you can move it up a little. Just play around with it. This is why I moved the die so that my little swoops were not all exactly the same. And then I'm going to put it together using a little bit of liquid glue. And you could use snail, but again, like I said, I like my wiggle room on stuff like this. Oops, wait a minute. Hold your horses. You know what's going to be better? If I stamp my trees first, right? I got a little ahead of myself. Imagine that. Let's stamp our trees. We'll pull in some garden green. And this tree is from Winter Woods collection. So that's this stamp set here. And it too has a wonderful set of dies that go with it. And then we're going to be using the Snowman. And you'll notice in here that these have the kind of yellowish background behind them. That means that it has a coordinating punch. And if it has the gray behind it, there's a coordinating die. So you can see that there are little dies that match all these things. But that was page 61 and 63 of our annual catalog. I'm going to stamp this twice. And what that does is it gives me a full strength image and then a slightly lighter image so that all of my trees are not exactly the same. It gives us a little more depth. Okay, so if I flush this one up with the bottom, my layer 2 sticks out just a touch. And so I'm going to cut that off with paper snips. And then for the inside, I have another piece of shimmer white. I'm going to do another tree. Always stamp before adhering in case it doesn't come out the way we want. We can flip it over and use the other side. That's better. And then I'm going to use our sentiment with Night of Navy. And this sentiment is from the Snowman Season Bundle, as well as the little snowflakes we're going to use. And I'm going to do those in Seaside Spray, which is a very light blue. And I'm just rotating my stamp a little bit so it doesn't look too uniform. I don't want it to look the same thing over and over again. I'm going to put that aside because we're still going to use it on another layer. I just don't want to stick my elbow in it. We all know I have a tendency to do that. This is where I wanted some snowflakes. Now what we need to do is I'm going to put that snowman on the front. And so I took a scrap of white paper. So here I have some shimmer white, and I don't know if you can see. Can you guys catch the light on that at all? How this shimmery white paper has just a little bit of sparkle to it? It does, and it's a little smoother, and that being smoother makes it very good for using with watercoloring. You can either use watercolor paper or you can use the shimmery white, and you get a slightly different look. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my snowman. Last time I used the punch and I punched out the little carrot for his nose. This time I'm going to use the Stampin' Blend. I am going to bring in the punch to punch out my snowman. And I always look from the back so that I can line it up and make sure it's exactly where I want it before I actually punch. And then I'm going to do a second one. The reason I'm doing a second one is when I go to put his arms on, there will be glue dots on the back of him. And this second one will allow me to cover him up. So you can see how his arm is smashed or sandwiched between the two layers. And that's going to help out with hiding those. Here's his arms. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the hat. I'm going to do 2. Since it covers up part of his forehead, you'll only see part of the hat on the back, and we want to see it all so that his hat is, you know, on his head. I saw somebody made a turkey, and these were the turkey feet. They used circles and some, you know, Cajun craze, pumpkin pie, crumb cake, crushed curry with circles, and these were his little feet. Isn't that cute? Hi, Sonia. Thank you so much for joining us each week and always sharing my video. That really helps me out a lot. It helps me get found. The more you guys like, comment, and share, the more Facebook thinks, oh, maybe she's got something interesting to say. We should show this to other people, and it goes out. So thank you to those of you who do that for me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you're one of my customers and I have your address and can send you a little thank you gift for doing that. And then I want him kind of halfway in. So I know that the whole bottom circle is going to be on my card front. So I'm okay to put adhesive here. But then see how there's part of him back here and it's kind of messy. So I'm going to take the second snowman and I'm going to line him up that. So there, now his arm is stuck into the snow. And then I can take my second hat and line that one up there. And there we have it. Isn't that a fun card? So here's the one we did today. Like I said, if you happen to have some of that sparkle glimmer paper laying around, or I guess you could even use silver. We do still carry silver. And then when I cut this one, this was the one on the other side. So since it doesn't have the dots in it, you can tell it was my other half. See, like this was the other half of one of these. There we go. So don't throw away the extra piece because you can turn it over. And see, I could even use it down here and cover up my little bit of nail polish. And then, like I said, Winkostella would help if you don't have the sparkle paper. Now, when these start to run low, don't panic. You can unscrew them and put just a few drops, you know, take this part off and put a few drops of alcohol in there, like rubbing alcohol, and then shake vigorously, and it kind of brings it back to life. So as it starts running low, add a little bit of rubbing alcohol and it lasts a little longer. Always a good tip. So I don't know if you can see now, kind of the little shimmer that's going on there. But you could keep laying down shimmer until you were happy, and then it'd be good to go. So as we're working into the holiday season, I am trying very hard to stay a little bit ahead of the game, and I'm going to try to start planning things further out ahead of time because I know everybody's going to get busy, even though we're all on lockdown. And I will start posting a event showing what's coming up for my next Facebook Lives. And so you'll be able to plan in advance knowing what I'm going to be making. I'll share a photo and give you the link to set a reminder for yourself so that you are here. Although I am here every Monday at 2:30 Mountain Time. Now for this, I'm just using the pointy end of my thing. You can also flip it over and use the little spatula. That works really well on our bigger things. Or that putty piece I took off. That's what that's designed for. And what you would do is, like I said, make sure you're not too tight on the top so it's not oozing. And then push down with the little rubber stuff, the gum, and then kind of flick and it'll pull it off and it'll take the little glue dot with it. And then you just bring it to your project and set it down. So there you go, just a little bit of sparkle. So thank you for joining me. I hope you take this project and you give it a try. Like I said, once you figure out the fold, this could be any number of things. It doesn't have to be a snowman. It doesn't have to be snow. It's just kind of a peekaboo. You know, you could even have a full card front here, a full layer here, and then a surprise on the inside. So, you know, just play around with it. If you need any of the supplies, I have already put them in the link above. I figured out how to do that ahead of time. So at the top of this Facebook video post is the list of all the supplies that I used with links back to my store. So if you ever need any of those things, I do appreciate it when you purchase from me. Thanks. Bye.